अब इस शहर पर सिर्फ मेरा राज होगा. Meaning, now this city will be ruled only by me. Picture that line being delivered by a massive villain with glowing red eyes, standing right in the middle of a dark, ruined city with sirens blaring in the background. It's the absolute perfect opening to a high-stakes action thriller. But here's the crazy part. What if I told you we didn't hire a Hollywood crew, we didn't rent out a city block, and we definitely didn't spend millions on CGI to bring that scene to life? Today, we are going to build that exact cinematic action sequence. We're calling it Shadow Warrior, a 2-minute hero versus villain showdown. And we're building the whole shebang using nothing but text prompts and the latest AI video generation tools.
Welcome back to The Explainer. We are setting a relentless, super fast pace today because we've got an absolute masterclass ahead of us. We're taking a raw action script, complete with energy blasts, slow-motion hero entries, and dramatic monologues, and we're breaking down the exact step-by-step pipeline to actually generate it. We'll look at maintaining character consistency, compositing explosive VFX, and mixing a professional audio track so your final export doesn't just look like a tech demo, but feels like a real movie. Fasten your seatbelts.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, Pre-Production, focusing on visuals and character consistency.
Imagine a raw script line like, Scene 2, camera slow motion, hero arrives. Now, to a human director, that makes total sense, right? But if you feed that raw text straight into an AI video generator, you might get a guy walking, maybe a guy falling from the sky, where your hero could suddenly sprout a third arm. We've all been there. We have to translate this narrative intention into a language that the AI models actually understand if we want consistent production-ready results.
And this brings us to a really powerful prompt formula. To get exactly what we want, we use a specific recipe, subject plus action plus camera plus style. By structuring our prompt exactly like this, defining the young Indian man, the single verb walking, the low-angle camera, and the dramatic lighting, we're telling the model exactly what the focal point is, how the virtual lens should behave, and what the visual anchor is. It literally removes all the guesswork.
Now, having a great prompt is one thing, but what happens when our hero moves from scene to scene? Anyone who's played around with AI video knows the absolute frustration of character drift. You know, where your hero's nose suddenly gets wider, where their jacket magically changes color by shot 3. To solve this, we rely on Vitru AI's workflow. First, we build a reference set of 3 to 5 images of our character. Second, we lock in a 2-sentence description of immutable visual traits. And third, we test these across different lighting and camera angles before we commit to generating the full scene. This strategy is amazing in action. When we lock down Arav, our hero, versus Ravenex, our villain, we assign Arav a blue energy aura and Ravenex those glowing red eyes. The absolutely crucial point here, straight from the Vitru AI research, is that identity lives in the reference and action lives in the prompt. We never describe the black coat in the action prompt for Scene 3. We let the reference image handle the wardrobe so the prompt doesn't get confused and start competing with itself.
Moving right along to Section 2, Production. This is where we get into hybrid VFX and explosions.
So here's the challenge with Scene 3, where the action really peaks and the buildings start to shake. Relying entirely on AI to generate a complex energy clash and explosion all in one go is honestly just a recipe for disaster. The timing will be off, the physics might look totally bizarre, and right now most AI video outputs are locked at 24 frames per second and 1080p resolution. You basically have zero creative control over the precise millisecond that energy blast impacts.
The solution is what we call hybrid VFX. Instead of begging the AI to magically generate the entire shot perfectly, we treat the AI as the ultimate element generator. We generate the background, the characters, and the explosions completely separately, and then we manually composite them together. This is a real game changer because it gives us back our directional control.
Here's the exact software stack to pull this off, inspired by top digital artists. We extract a clean background plate using Kling 0.1. Then we generate the perfect fiery energy reference using an image model like Flux. Next up, we animate that explosion on a black background using VVAI. And finally, we take all these pieces into DaVinci Resolve Fusion. Doing it this way allows us to track the camera shake, add realistic motion blur, and actually manually relight the ground so those violent blue and red energy blasts physically react with the environment. It looks incredible. Finally, we hit Section 3, Post-Production, voiceovers, music, and the final mix. We know an AI video without a meticulously mixed audio track will just feel flat and robotic. First, we need to cast our voices, so we dive into the ElevenLabs library. The contrast we set up here is stark.
For our villain, Ravenix, we picked a voice profile named Taksh, known for an intense, dark, immersive horror tone. But for our hero, Arev, we use Jeet, which gives us this raw, unfiltered, heroic North Indian delivery. This audio contrast instantly tells the audience who's good and who's evil before a single word even registers. But how do we get Arev's lips to move perfectly with Jeet's voice? Well, using Kling AI's Video 2.6 lip sync tool, we can input this exact syntax. Host says, followed by his final heroic punchline, "Ye ladai sirf meri nahi, sabki hai," meaning, this fight isn't just mine, it belongs to everyone. The AI actually maps the visual mouth movements and the audio phonemes at the exact same time, completely eliminating that dreaded, immersion-breaking bad lip sync. Next, we need to inject the chaos into the final fight. Action scenes absolutely demand percussive, driving beats. So, from the Fesliyan Studios library, we pull in 2 royalty-free tracks. We kick off the sequence with Ready to Fight, a 2-minute track with cinematic breakpoints that match our hero's slow-motion entry perfectly. Then, right when that giant energy clash happens, we crossfade into Mr. Wick, a super-aggressive drum and bass track that really drives the final brutal punches home. To tie the whole thing together, we use a technique called audio ducking. Think about it. If the explosions and that drum and bass track are blasting at max volume, no one's going to hear Arev's heroic final words. Audio ducking automatically dips the background music down to about 20 or 30% of the volume level the exact millisecond the voiceover speaks. It ensures the dialogue cuts through all that chaos crystal clear.
And there you have it. We went from a simple text script to a fully composited, lip-synced, sonically booming action sequence. We use structured prompting, hybrid compositing, and professional audio mixing to completely take back our creative control. But it does leave us with a pretty fascinating, provocative thought to end on. As these workflows get even more seamless, will AI eventually replace the massive 3D simulation software of Hollywood? Or will the artists who learn to use AI as an element generator just become completely unstoppable? I seriously can't wait to see what you all create with these tools.